Well, I did not expect to do a journal entry again so soon, but I did play again this morning, and although yesterday I talked specifically about all of the glitches, today I had absolutely none. So I just want to reiterate again, I do think that the people who are super negative about the glitches are overblowing it. Now, yesterday I was a little frustrated, admittedly, but over the last 4 months or so that I've been playing Red Dead Redemption regularly online, Red Dead Online, I should say. I have only had that happen maybe twice or 3 times at the most. I think twice that I've had just really bad day with glitches and it was impossible to play. What's more normal is that I'll play for hours and I'll maybe, and it's not necessarily true that I have days without any glitches either. Today was very, very smooth. I think that's actually kind of unusual. I would say that for the most part, what I'm used to is there's a glitch or two while I'm playing, and it's not a super huge inconvenience, and I just kind of deal with it. My camp will disappear, for example, or my moonshine shack, I can't enter it, and I'll have to go to a new session, and then, a few minutes after I've done so, I've kind of forgotten it because it's not a super big deal. I admit it would be much better if we didn't have any glitches, but dealing with 1 or 2 minor glitches, as long as they don't mess up, hours worth of work, which they haven't done, then that's okay. Now, admittedly, I don't do the trader role very much anymore because of the frequency of camp glitches. And I did get really frustrated with showing up at camp with a bunch of animals loaded up on my horse and a bunch of skins and couldn't turn them in because the camp wasn't there. I had to run to the butcher and sell them instead for a few bucks. Not exactly what I've done. Not exactly what I wanted to do. So, admittedly, if I were really serious about the trader role, the glitches would probably be on my nerves more. But then again, I haven't had as many camp glitches as I'm used to. I do think, unless I'm going a little bit crazy though today, that my camp actually moved from when I started my session to a few minutes later after I did my first moonshine run. I think that, and I'm not complaining about that either, because it actually moved it down below the bench at Henniganstead, literally a few hundred virtual yards away from my moonshine shack. So my camp and my shack were almost right next to each other. That was the best camp location I'd have ever had. And I don't think that's where I started. I'm pretty sure I had to go around and go down the side of the cliff to get to my moonshine shack the first time I played. I also did 2 moonshine deliveries. I don't often do that, but I played for about 2 hours. Although it hasn't been announced yet, and I haven't seen a newswire, I haven't seen anybody else do a video, and it's not in my benefits tab. I'm pretty sure that there is a bonus to moonshine or cash made for missions. I did 2 deliveries. I did not lose any moonshine this time, and they were strong 3-star flavored moonshine, Wild Creek, and I got $321.50 for each delivery, which is a significant amount more than I'm used to getting. It should be $247.50, 25, just 247. I'll just round. So it made significantly more money. Probably, well, 270 is the net, even with the $50 of mash. So if that's going to be the case all week, I'm going to try and be a little bit more on top of these moonshine deliveries, because it's a good way to make a little bit of extra money. I already thought that the moonshiner role was a good way to make money in kind of a passive sense. You can kind of start a batch brewing, go do something else, come back later, make a delivery, and start another batch brewing, and then go do something else again. It's fairly passive, but if they're going to increase the amount, it's a little bit more, it's worth it to be a little bit less passive about it and be a little bit more on top of it. When your batch is done, go make a delivery and start a new one more frequently. So I probably will do that over the next week because it looks like there is going to be a bonus there. There's also some, it's Tuesday, we get the new update. I imagine that will be announced later today. But hey, you heard it here first. Imagine that. Let's see what else. Because I was able to make money a little bit faster than normal, I did go get Guy of Gisborne, the only Robin Hood themed horse I have so far, who's named after one of the villains. who is a dark bay Turcoman. I've got the dark bay because I just think the gold is, I don't like the look of the gold. I think it's kind of an ugly color. And the silver costs gold. So the dark bay, even though it's a little bit cheaper, I think the stats are identical. And I actually kind of like it because it's a very classic colored horse. And I feel like all of my horses, because for whatever reason, the top tier roll horses, and this is the only horse I have that's not a roll horse too. I have the 4 roll horses and I have this Turcoman. I have 5 horses right now. All 4 of the top tier roll horses are a little bit funny colored. I think they went for unusual colors for the top tier. And so I'm not a huge, I don't know, I like having this kind of horse. He's a very classic looking horse. I was able to finish getting him the Nacogdoches saddle. I already had the saddle and I already had the stirrups. I got the collector saddlebag because I couldn't find one of the, curiously, it's the basic Nacogdoches saddle. It's maple and whatever other color it is. None of the improved saddlebags that match the Nacogdoches saddle actually match the color of that. So I just went ahead and got the collector. Maybe I'll start carrying more clothes while I'm riding this horse, and maybe I'll ride this horse more. My next big purchase, and hopefully with the improved money from the moonshiner roll, I'll be able to do it this week, is going to be the Perlino Andalusian, the last color of the Nacogdoches saddle I don't have, and it's kind of the pinkish one. It's the plum and maple or whatever it is. And then I'll have all 6 colors. We'll see how that goes. It's always a little tricky when you buy a new horse and you're trying to get it bonded. Although it gives you something to do that's kind of interesting to, work on bonding your horse. Your performance of a not fully bonded horse is noticeably worse. So it's a little tricky. I prefer, of course, to have a horse that is fully bonded, and you get much better performance out of it. But I probably won't log in again with another journal until I get that done. Meanwhile, there's the Irwin coat is back on sale. There's some other hats too. I think they're kind of dumb looking hats. I don't think I'll get any of them. But the Irwin coat, which is several colors of what in single player is the Cougar cutaway coat. So I hadn't even looked at how much it costs, but I'll probably go get a few of those. I'm doing pretty good on gold right now. I've got 123 gold bars or something, and I'm trying to make sure that I don't dip below 100. So if it costs gold, I can get, probably a couple of them at least. And if it costs money, then I'll spend the money to do it. Spending money is not a big deal. Sometimes I can't do it right away, and I've got to wait a day or two. But even without the bonus, doing the moonshine deliveries is enough that I can get enough money after a couple of days to buy anything I want. So I don't hang on to a lot of gold. I see people who are like really into Red Dead online and do content and live stream and post videos almost every day. They're all sitting around on tens of thousands or even over 100,000 in gold, several hundred gold bars, 400, 500 gold bars. I can't imagine being that into it and playing that much that I have that. I get gold, but I tend to spend it pretty quick once I get it, because I get it often enough that, it's not a big deal. I don't ever feel like I need to save up for more than a couple days or so to get anything, even something really expensive that's, $900, $1,000. I can get pretty quick. And, when I get this horse, it's going to be a pretty big expense. Even though the horse itself is not one of the most expensive horses, it's kind of a mid-tier in terms of cost, about $550. If I get him a Nacogdoches saddle, an improved saddlebag, and the improved stirrups, and a lantern, the saddle and tack kit up, and I haven't done the exact math. But if it's, again, the saddle's $525, $550. The improved saddlebags, $125. The improved stirrup, the hooded stirrups are $140, I think. The lantern's $350. We're talking $1,100 to $1,200 for a saddle and tack setup, plus the cost of the horse itself, which, isn't $800 or $900 like all the other ones I have bought have been, but it's still not nothing. $550 is a fairly decent amount of money. Anyway, I'm gonna let this go for now, and I probably will not do another journal entry for a few more days.